Hi guys, welcome to the Mom Podcast. This is Jen Chen. I'm your host for today, and I have a special guest today. Today's episode, we are gonna discuss about Milfs.
My favorite topic. My name's Christian, also known as CB Writes Copy on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. Internet marketer for a profession, TikToker for fun, avid Pilates fan,
Yes.
and grateful to be here.
Yeah, thank you for coming. I'm really excited to talk to you and interview you and kind of hear your perspective on why men are boys or whoever attracted.
Boys. Maybe that is why.
Why is it?
Yeah.
Well, before we go into it, you know, it's kind of cool because this friendship did not appear out of nowhere, right?
Yeah.
So I kind of wanted to know, how did we meet, Christian?
Gary Vee posted my video with him on his Instagram, and I think you followed me from it, and then DM me, and I just responded, and I was like,
Let's get it straight. So it's
I think that's how it happened.
I'm pretty sure. I think it was you guys. He posted, and yeah, I followed you, and I remember. I think what I was most interested about is what you asked him about it.
Yeah.
Do you remember what you asked him?
Yeah, I just talked to him about like comparing yourself to others and why it's not beneficial for you. He gave me a great answer. I also knew that it would be a question that he would give a fire answer to, so that's why I asked it. But.
Yeah, no, it was amazing. I think when I saw it and then your response, and obviously he's so handsome, so I was like, why not? Why not? I want to talk to smart, obviously people and entrepreneurs, and then so for me, I was just like really intrigued by the question you had asked him and his response. So that's kind of how we met, and then we've known each other for about a year now. Mm-hmm. I saw you kind of go from he's TikTok famous, guys.
Sort of.
Like
some days.
Yeah, he's super humble, modest, but I saw him kind of start like obviously with his business and everything, and over the year, I mean, it's just been kind of really good for you. So I'm really happy for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So let's start for the first question. Obviously, our co-host Rachel was supposed to be here today. She couldn't have made it. So, I wanted to pick your brain a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I had first met you or when I saw you, I like just from the way you carry yourself and everything, it seems like you're a lot older than your age. And so I remember asking, I swear I thought you were in your 30s.
No.
Do you get that a lot or no?
I get like late 20s, yeah.
Yeah. And then you kind of surprised me a little bit. But then, what was awesome was it didn't really matter about age. I just think at the end it matters about like just how you connect, right?
Yeah.
And like everything. So, but I wanted to ask, because you had told me that you date older women in general.
I mean, I like to go out with older women, yeah.
Why?
Like women older than me. I don't want to say older because you're young, but I don't know. I feel like girls my age and below are just like immature and don't have a lot of substance to them, and they talk about stuff that I don't. It's just like not entertaining to me.
So how old are you?
24.
24, and you said girls, your age younger. You have dated a few.
Yeah.
And you feel there's no substance.
Well, that's not true for everybody, but I feel like for the most part, like women older than me are just a lot more sophisticated and have more things to talk about. I don't know. It's just a better time.
I think earlier when we were talking about at the bar, when we were talking at the office and working, we were discussing, I said, all men, essentially boys, men, they all like moms for some reason.
Yeah.
And is it because there's a nurturing aspect or what is it?
I think that men, when they see a MILF or a mom, they just know that that person knows how to take care of somebody, and it's like the nurturing thing, and it's like like I said, I think subconsciously they realize like, oh, this is a woman who has raised somebody, not just like a girl. So it creates a little bit of an appeal.
I love it. I think, obviously this episode's not, when we started at Moms, it's funny because I was able to be like, why can't we be MILFs? Why can't we do all these things, right? But I think in the conversation I had with you, I was like, what is the purpose of this podcast? Was really, I wanted to create, and I think you and me have that same level of thinking where feminine and masculinity, because I want to talk about Pilates. Mm-hmm. Every time we do Pilates, you have to take a shot.
Wow. You're going to do this on purpose.
So tell me about your Pilates video. Like, how did that occur? What came up where you were like, wanted to talk about that?
I kept posting videos about like other things, and all the comments were related to Pilates. So I'm like, this is a big topic. If I make a video on Pilates, it'll do well, and it did pretty well. So
Well, can you share a little bit about it was? I mean, we'll probably link it, but what did you say about Pilates and women?
I said Pilates girls are very wholesome and they don't go out on weekends because they want to go to Pilates class. And
That's true.
it's also a challenging. I went to a workout and it was very hard, and all the girls are in good shape. So I'm like, well, if a girl goes to Pilates, chances are she's a keeper. So that's kind of what I talked about.
So just someone that's into gym and fitness and stuff is a keeper.
But like Pilates is like everyone there is a woman, so it's like you just go to Pilates, have fun. It's like guys going to the golf course, you know. You don't got to worry about it. You just let them do their thing.
And then, so another thing I saw, another post that I saw that went viral was that you talked about how women shouldn't work 9 to 5s. Can you discuss about that?
Yeah, I mean, I said that like very polarizing on purpose to get people to watch, but it's just like the stay-at-home mom thing just isn't really a thing anymore, and I feel like it still should be if the woman wants it to be. So
Okay.
like if you don't want to work a 9 to 5 and you want to stay home with your kids, that should be
An option.
a viable option.
And I was talking to you earlier about it, and I was saying how like we're going through this whole system of like, obviously I own my own businesses, all these things, and I think what I come off of is people are like, oh, Jen, you're a boss bitch, you do all these things. But I was telling Christian and a bunch of my girlfriends actually, I don't want to be like that is not a message I want to send out to like the younger generation and my girls. I want to send out, yes, be independent, yes, love what you do, make something of yourself, but don't be so independent where you're not dependent on a man to rely on, right? And so I think there's like this balance of femininity and masculinity. So could you touch on that a little bit and just tell me what you think is wrong now with like, the scenarios between men and women?
I think a lot of men are not masculine anymore. And
Why is that?
I don't know. Maybe because like I think we have it really easy in this country nowadays where like there's not a lot of challenge or suffering that people go through. Like think about my grandpa was in the war, World War II, World War I. Like men had to be fucking men back then.
Yeah.
And now they can just like be on social media and make TikToks and not be masculine. I don't know. I don't know what shifted, but it's definitely different than it used to be.
Do you also think that the women or like the girls, there's like no boundaries anymore? It's kind of just like a free for all. Like it's like men don't really have to work for it anymore.
What do you mean?
And just in general, of just like I feel like there's no old school of just like the dating, getting to know somebody, and like everything's just kind of like having fun, and it's not as serious.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know why that is, but yeah, I mean, I feel like there's a lot less of a traditional aspect to dating than there used to be.
So how many girls from Pilates have you dated?
I mean, I haven't dated any.
Doesn't matter. I just said Pilates, so you have to take a shot.
I don't know that I've dated any. I mean,
How do you
I've met
know?
a decent amount from.
Have you gone to Pilates, or you just see like girls in Pilates and you just think it's attractive? Because it's like
I saw it, and then after I went viral, I got invited to a bunch of classes. So
I love that.
I did like 4, and they were all really hard, but they were good.
How many girls have reached out to you and said that they wanted to be like your like wife, girlfriend?
Not that directly, but there's definitely been girls that have messaged me. Yeah.
Okay. And then what's your like? Are you kind of like, I mean, what do you think about that?
What do you mean?
Like, are you like open to it? Because I think that's a good way of just like meeting somebody. Like,
Yeah, no, I'm open to it if I think you're attractive and we get along. Yeah.
Yeah. Christian, I wanted to pick your brain a little bit since, I don't really have male, what is it? Not contestants. Male, just male guests on the show. And I just kind of want to see if the cab theory is correct. So the cab theory, let's explain a little bit about what it is. It's pretty much like a guy could have a girl that's like a 10 out of 10, but if he's not ready in life to settle down, he'll just drive straight past her.
Yeah, that's interesting. I feel like for me, I'll know if I want to settle down with a girl when I'm with her and I'm like not getting any shiny object syndrome. Like I've been out with girls that are like, well, they're cute, we're having fun, but it's like there's still other girls that could take my attention away.
Right.
But if I meet a girl where it's like I don't care about anybody else, like I'll delete everything in my phone for this girl, like that's when you know.
So you're telling me that, because obviously girls, we always think and we're like, oh, he's just not ready. Like all this is when someone says he's just not into you, is that really the truth? Like you're saying the right girl will make a guy want to settle down.
For me, like I've met girls, like it's pretty rare for me because I'm, I guess, picky subconsciously, not by choice, but like if I meet a girl that I really like, I'm like, she could be the only name of my phone, that'd be fine. But that's rare because a lot of times it's like, You know what I mean? Like if someone texts you, your eyes light up. Whereas like if someone else texts you, you're like, oh, okay, whatever. I'll just answer this. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So
Okay.
I don't really see the reason why a guy would pass up a girl like that because they're not ready. Because then if you pass her up, then you're like, well, now there's nobody else like that.
Right.
And I fucked up.
Right. So what makes you, what's interesting, what you talked about, how you're like, there's not a lot of men out there, and you talked about your grandpa, was in war, all these things. How do you think you grew up differently than from most of the, I want to say the guys here or whatever, just in general? What makes you a little bit different? Or how, can you explain like how you grew up? So why you look at this role as like a very specific that men are supposed to provide and protect?
You're saying, why do I think that now?
Or like, how were you like? Was it because you were raised that way because you saw your mom and dad, or what was
no,
it?
I mean, my parents are split up, so I didn't really see that. But
Okay.
I just feel like that's how it should be, and that's what would bring me personal satisfaction. So that's kind of how I think about it.
Do you feel like okay, so it was just like naturally you were just like, okay.
Well, yeah, like I think family is like a big thing, and it's kind of lost nowadays. Like, you know what I mean? You want to, if you're like 45 and successful and you're single, it's like, what are you doing?
What's the point?
Whereas like you have a family and kids and stuff.
Yeah.
So
We discussed that earlier too. We were talking about like what's the point? Like for men, the driving force is like really for family or for like what's the point of being super successful and just being about a bunch of dudes?
Yeah.
I think you did this interview. I don't know if it's with I watched one where the guy said he's like, a quality woman brings a man more success than anything.
Yeah.
Like, and I think it's not that you don't want to surround yourself around just a bunch of quality men, but it's more the fact of women, I think, are like, I would say the flower, right? But I also think now this generation, there's too many strong alpha females that are very much like, no, we'll do it ourselves. I don't need the men. I don't do whatever. And it's becoming kind of, I think, ironic in the sense that it's like now really that's why there's so much single women that they don't want to have kids anymore. They just, all these things are spiraling where I feel like if we just kind of slow down and take it back to the old school days, where it's like the I Love Lucy episodes, Lucy always, did you watch that? Because I know you're super young. Do you know what I Love Lucy is?
I think I saw one.
Oh my.
I think I've seen one episode.
But you know what it is. I Love
Sort
Lucy.
of.
Like Ricky Ricardo and Lucy.
I saw an episode. I don't remember what it was about.
So pretty much it just means that every time he comes home, like she's ready for him. Like she's just like, I have dinner for you.
Yeah.
They fight a lot, they bicker, but they're best friends. But her role is really to take care of the household, the family,
Yeah.
everything. And if she wanted to work and do stuff, Ricky Ricardo was super like, go ahead, I encourage you. But it's not for her to pay the bills. He's
Yeah.
the one in charge of that. So I think what I was trying to say is like those olden days, I look at that and I was like, I think that's why marriages during that time stayed for so much longer, if that makes sense. Because, so I don't know. But anyways, did you have any questions for me?
Let's see. What is like what do you look for in a man as like a trait of, wow, that guy's high value, successful, somebody I would look for?
So it wouldn't be so much of like successful, right? That's like me saying, oh, he's successful, he has money. For me, it's having the drive. And for me, it's having this calm energy. I think a confident man speaks like volumes. Someone that's confident within themselves, I know for a fact that they're gonna want to provide. They're gonna want to protect. So I think that's extremely sexy to me when a man wants to work and he wants to be like, no, babe, like I got it, take care of it. He wants to lead and guide. So I think majority of the women, I could say, that's what we're looking for, someone that we could feel safe and nurtured and loved by. We don't necessarily need the financial part, but ideally, if we're gonna take care of the kids and, do all these things, I think it's a give and take. It's a balance, right? Mm-hmm. So that's what I would think is, that's what's attractive to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you say it's true that you're the happiest when you can just like shut your brain off and let the man like take the lead on something?
Yeah, extremely. I think especially women now with working and situations, like for me, I'm in sales all day, I'm working, right? So I'm always having to think, but once I get home, you just want a man to lead, be like, babe, we're going to dinner. Okay. And I want the guy to be like, we're this, we're going to go somewhere casual, we're this. And then I don't ask questions and we just go.
Yeah.
It's like literally closing your eyes and just having, and you trust that this man got you, So I think that's the part where you feel like protected and safe. Mm-hmm. That's the biggest thing. For all women, we just want to feel safe.
Yeah.
And recognized.
And you don't think that's a thing anymore, like it used to be?
Because I think there's not enough real men out there.
Yeah.
I think, and this is the part where on my stories or even in this interviews and stuff, I've constantly said we cannot spoil our children, and especially if you had boys, because it's the spoiled children, entitled, that they feel that there's no need to try anymore,
Yeah.
So yeah, I would think for me, it's like, how do we change it? We need to shift it, right? We need to break the cycle of like, okay, moms, we cannot spoil the son. The best thing you could do for your sons is to give them nothing and let them figure it out on their own. It's true.
Yeah.
Because girls, I always said this, girls, there's a saying, girls should be nurtured like princesses, right? Not spoiled, like where they're like snobby, but nurtured like princesses and loved. Because what women bring to a table is different from a man, right?
Yeah.
Men need to learn and figure it out. Because if they're going to be leaders and they're going to be the lions of the jungle and protect their tribe, you guys need to figure it out. You want the woman to go in the front and fight for you? No, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
So could you share a little bit, obviously, dating in your age and this world is a little bit different from mine, but I wanted to ask a little bit, what are red flags that you see, or like, what are red flags that you see where you're kind of like, okay, no, like I'm not gonna, like this is not something I'm gonna go down the path of.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing for me is like when a woman is just kind of like floating along. And what I mean by that is like they have no North Star. They're just like being flown out places by guys and going on yachts and going out. It's like there's no substance there. They're just like,
There's no purpose.
yeah, like you're just getting drunk and working a bartender job. Like, what are you doing?
Okay.
Like, either you're career driven, which is fine until you meet like a husband, or you're like, providing for a husband, or you're doing a little bit of both. You know what I mean? But it's not like the whole, like, I call it floating, where they're like going through their 20s and they're just kind of like partying and
Just kind of like,
not pursuing anything.
and just kind of floating and just almost taking advantage, right? Because they're just like lazy or something.
Like, guys are paying for their shit, which is cool, but like that's all you're doing, and you're working like a bartending job and stuff. Yeah.
But in their mind, I wonder if they think they're actually working because they're providing like, fun and all this entertainment for these. But these guys don't take
Have
it
your fun,
seriously,
but that's
though.
just not for me. Like, do whatever you want. I'm not going to judge, but like I can never be serious with a person like that.
But I think this too, it's like, I get it too, as like, obviously in business, in guys and girls, like it's fun, but guys never take girls like that seriously,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Like, at the end of the day, I think it's like cool. You do you, right? There's no
Yeah.
judgment, but a red flag, what Christian was mentioning was that, okay, when they just kind of float through life. Yeah, that's not attractive. That's not sexy at all.
Nope.
Okay, what's another one?
Probably immaturity, where like all they talk about is like, oh, I hate my friend. This friend blabbed about this drama. Like,
So dramatic girls.
yeah, like just immaturity, and there's not like that's why like I say Milfs and older women. There's like a sense of maturity there
Okay.
and substance to talk about things that are more surface level or more deep than the surface level, like drama and my friend said this happened last night.
Like girl, like just like stupid cat fight stuff like
Yeah.
that. And then have you ever been on a date where you like this girl did something or said something, you're like extremely, like you're just like, I'm turned off. You're like, I can't do it anymore. Maybe on her phone the whole time or somebody.
Like when they can't make eye contact, I hate that. Like if you look at them and they're just like,
But do you think it's because they're nervous?
maybe, I don't know.
But you want someone to stare like straight into
Not
your eyes.
stare, but like actually be engaged. And I feel like the person's not all the way there if they're not.
That
looking
makes
back.
sense.
Yeah.
Like it's like the connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A date goes great. Whatever, you drive her home, drop her off, say goodnight, and then she just like kind of ghosts you after. Like I've had scenarios where the date goes really well, and then the girl just like, oh, it's like, I feel like the answer is either like a different guy came up in my life, I'm not ready to commit to something like that, or like,
But they go.
like it feels like it's never a negative. Like it's not me that it's not me that they're ghosting. It's just like something else is going on, which is weird because for me, if I like a girl, I would never like cut her off like that. It makes sense.
So ghost as in they disappear. Like she doesn't even explain. Like,
Doesn't
hey,
really
you
text
were-
back. Yeah.
And why they do that?
Yeah.
I think a lot of it for girls, it might be an insecurity thing, to be honest. I think, for example, a secure woman or a secure girl will be like, hey, Christian, that was amazing, like your date, everything, but my ex-boyfriend came up or like whatever, I think people are scared to just tell the truth
Yeah.
directly and they don't want to hurt people's feelings. But I also think at the same time, I think sometimes, and from my vibe of what I feel and sense when they go, sometimes they might feel like they might be like not good enough for you, like in the sense, and I say that in a very positive, loving manner where maybe they feel like they can't be they rather, and I've been through these experiences where I wasn't able to date people equal or better than me. I always subconsciously dated less than, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but in the sense that I knew that I wouldn't be as hurt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think when they ghost or when they like maybe don't know how to directly say something, I think it's because the level, they're not able to match your level. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then last one is like, I feel like I'm at an age right now where career and success isn't valued enough yet because I'm still kind of young and like recent college graduate.
For sure.
So like, why would like I've seen it a lot where girls will like choose the fucking deadbeat shitty guy.
Yeah.
I'm
like what's the reason?
Yeah, like this guy's unemployed, like does drugs, and I'm like fucking running my business and.
Right. So it's almost
why
like.
Why would you choose that guy? It makes no sense.
So it's not so much choosing that guy. I would just say that the girls or guys, sometimes guys choose someone that's like not the nice girl, the one that cheats on them or something. I would say it's just for unhealed people.
Yeah.
I think people that are not fulfilled and not confident within themselves, I think they're gonna attract, and they only know what kind of love is. And if it's a toxic love and it's the deadbeat dad, the deadbeat, like, whoever it may be, they're like, well, at least I know how to manage this if they cheat on me, because I'm used to that. But if I meet someone like Christian who's gonna be faithful and honest, and gosh, I could have a life with him, and he's gonna start, I don't know if I could handle that. So I think at the end it has to do with unhealed, wounds, and I think you kind of, so that's the reason why. It's not so much nice guys finish last or what's the scenario. I think it's just the people that are unhealed, because I could say for myself, right? Like I'm at this position now. I obviously went through a relationship, got divorced, had my kids. Now I'm finally attracting, and I know I'm like wanting like good, the people that match me that are way better, versus before it was just easier for me to pick, the ones that were not as great. And I think because there was unhealed wounds, everything's childhood trauma. So I would say honestly, never take it personal. It's really, because now when guys ghost me, which is rare, I'm just kidding. But if they do, and when they do, I've had, gone into this dating world where I'm like, dude, I was so good to them. Like, what happened? And they ghost me. I realized that it's really not me, it's them. And and because they have their situation they want to handle and deal with. So that's what it is.
Makes sense.
So I think to summarize everything, right? I think what's awesome to have Christian here and just to kind of interview is that, like, Milfs, moms, if you're divorced, you're single with kids or whatever, there actually are good men out there, they're, and you look at the situation is a lot of people, like for me, for example, when I got divorced and I had the kids, I'm like, oh, there was one initial fact of like, oh, who would want me? Like I'm a lot of baggage, I have my kids, all these things. And I think it was my girlfriends and, guys that were like able to kind of encourage me and be like, no, like there's plenty of men that will take care of you and like, want you and things like that. So, I guess to sum up all of this, you just have, Milfs, guys, the Christian.
It's not over for you, ladies.
It's not over. It's not over. So thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
hopefully we'll have another episode soon.